in the previous video we had seen how we had created the seat layout in movie booking. Okay, so now we will see how we can connect our login and register pages. Okay, so to create the login and register pages, what we will do is we will head over to resources first, and inside views we will create the two views, or you could say the two blade pages that we need. One is the login, okay, and another one is the register. So by default also you get the Laravel scaffold for this thing, okay, but just to get a learning experience of creating things from scratch, we will be using this templates. Okay, so here I have created login.blade.php and register.blade.php. okay, so for this pages what we will do is simply we will add two other routes. Okay, so these routes remain like in the previous video. So newer routes that I have created over here are written over here. Okay, so first we will keep the register route, register user, okay, /register user, and what we are going to do here is write function and here we are going to return the view. Okay, so instead of calling this thing from rerouting this from a controller, we are directly routing it from here itself. So here I will write the name of the view as a register. Okay, and similarly we will do it for login as well. Okay, we will change this thing. Instead of register user we will write here login user, and here write login. So these two views are created. So ideally what should happen is when you go over here you should have certain kind of event that needs to be handled from this place. Okay, so let me just show you how we will handle that event. See here, so in the show seats table we have a status. Okay, so we will be checking the status, and based on that we will be having a hyperlink. Okay, so in this page we will go display seats. Okay, and here we are going to have an anchor tag for this thing. If status is 0, only for the 0 status pages. Okay, and write this thing. Book seat. Okay, book seat will write a route for this thing, book seat. Then we'll pass the three parameters we have over here. The three parameters are as follows: one is the show ID, theater ID, and one is the seat ID. So we'll write it as seat ID is equals to seat ID $_seat. Just keep the right spacing just so that you don't get confused. Okay, and here what we have taken the name for this thing, seat ID. So here I'll write seat ID, sorry, and ampersand the next parameter, that is the show ID and theater ID. Okay, and theater ID. Okay, sorry. let's just see how this works. Okay, so let me refresh this page now. So empty seat we are having over here. We'll click on that. See here, book seat, seat ID, show ID and theater ID. Okay, so it has transferred all the details. So what we have to do here is we have to create a function in the movie controller called book seat. Okay, so what we'll do is we have to create the route first. Okay, so here we'll create, let's just keep all the functions on the upper end and the visual, you could say, parts on the lower end. So we'll write here get and book seat and comma movie controller and write the name of the function book seat. Okay, and let's create the function inside this thing. So let's head over to movie controller. Okay, so movie controller we had created in the first or second video itself. Okay, so here we'll have to create the function book seat. And after creating this function, what we have to do is we have to first check whether a user has logged in or not. Okay, so that is how we are going to get the user ID of the user. So like if you see in this show seats table, okay, I'll explain you the logic for finding the user. So here user ID should be given by the user who has logged in. So 3 parameters we have already through the request. Okay, if you see carefully, seat ID, show ID and theater ID, and user ID will be stored in our session variable. So what exactly a session variable is, whenever your user logs in any kind of website, so either you could set a user token inside a cookie or you could set a session token or sort of a thing. Okay, so instead of tokens, to simplify things, we are simply using the user ID that we are going to save in a session variable. Okay, so for that thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check if we have that variable session has. Okay, and I will create that variable, okay, in the what you call the register method and this thing login method. So firstly I'm going to check if session has user ID, okay, or else if it doesn't have a user ID, what I'm going to do is I'm going to return to the login page. Okay, so return view login. Okay, so here I have created this thing, right? Okay, so I have created the route as login user and this thing as register user. So what I need to do here is I need to change the name to login user, and here if a session ID is actually available, what I'm going to do is return it a view called book seat confirm, along with compact and the request data. Okay, so I'm sending it this data to another view, okay, which will be the book seat confirm, which will actually be the payment view, you could say, sort of a thing, okay, to actually make the payments for the seats that you have booked. Okay, so currently one more thing that we have left out, and we are going to do it in the next implementation, or you could say in the upcoming videos, is that at this point of time we can only add single seat and book a single seat at a time. Okay, so to book multiple seats we need to use some form of JavaScript to save this thing into cookies or that sort of a thing. So for that purpose I'm not venturing into JavaScript at this point of time, so that I don't get you guys confused with multiple technologies all at once. Okay, so I'm keeping this stuff at a minimal. Okay, we'll see how that is also done. Okay, but for now we'll be booking one seat at a time. So in this video specifically we will be just creating a login and register page, and we will be interacting with it. Okay, I will also explain you the interaction of how things are done. So what we're going to do here is we'll send it to a book seat confirm, and if it does not have what you call the session variable set, what it will do is it will go to login user. So yet another thing that we have left out is you'll have to add an namespace import for this thing, and here it is called use session. Okay, so session, what it will do is it will bring in the session, what you call session code from the vendor directory that we have. Okay, so session is needed. Okay, so this is done, and now we'll see how the redirection takes place. Okay, view login user not found. Just a second. Oh, sorry, view is called, what is the view called? Login. Sorry, my bad, I messed up. Sorry. So here it is, we are directly returning the view. We are not using a redirect function, so it got me confused a bit. So here you have to use login itself. See here, login. So here I am directly returning the view to login. Okay, so yeah, so now it should go. Yeah, so now it is showing an empty page. So what I'm going to do is I'll just start writing HTML directly over here. So like HTML. Again, just like always, we are not going to bother ourselves with design things. Okay, we'll keep it a minimal. Login page. Okay, body, okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a table over here. Okay, first I'm going to create a h1. Inside this h1 we are going to write login and in VSP register. Okay, and we'll also set up this thing, what do you call, anchor tags between this. Okay, this is a poor man's method to create a navigation bar, you could say. Okay, but it should be enough to get you started. Okay, so I hope you guys can do the design changes as per your comfort. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is login user and href register user. So this will be calling the routes that we have defined here in web.php. See here, register user, so it will redirect to the view called register, and login user will redirect to the view called register. Okay, so the views that we have created, let's just reiterate this thing. So views we have created in the views directory. Okay, inside this thing, see here, login, register, and we are redirecting from this place. So yeah, so now that we have placed this thing, now let's just see if we have a login page over here. Yeah, so it is showing login and register. So now I have created a table tag. Just let me complete this table tag. So what we are going to do is in the tr tags itself we are going to have the username and its corresponding text field. Okay, td input type equals to text. Okay, when you want plain text, if you want numbers you could have input type is equals to number, and id for any JavaScript we might write in future, user id, and name that we will be needing for our script when we transfer the data to the backend. So let's just replicate this thing and just change the type and a few more things. And so replace username with password, and here input type is password. Okay, here the user ID is again passwd. I'm using a variable called passwd. Okay, and now once again here I am having two buttons. One will be for submit and another one will be for reset. Input type is equals to reset. For these two buttons we do not need to have what you call any kind of ID or any sort of a thing, unless we are using some kind of JavaScript or sort of a thing. Okay, and now once we have done this thing, what we have to do is we have to add the form tag. We should have done it earlier, but okay. So here the form tag, form action, which will take us to the page, or you could say the place where we'll be writing our code to actually log in. So login user backend we could call it. Okay, yeah, method we have to keep it post. Okay, sorry, post, and let's just see if the form is showing now. Okay, so the form is showing. Let's just okay, so it is taken to the function login user backend. So let's just copy this thing and create a route. Okay, and here let's create a route for this thing, and this time it will be a post route. Post, and for this thing we need to create another controller. We'll call it user controller for now. Okay, I'm just writing this thing first and then I will create the controller. Okay, login user end. Okay, and to create a controller, open the new terminal, php artisan make controller, so controller, and you could call it user controller. Okay, so it has created a controller. And what we are going to do is, first let's just copy these two things. We'll need db for this thing as well. So use illuminate support facades and use session. And apart from that, we will require another package from facades, which will be called hash. Okay, so most of the websites that work in the modern times have some sort of hashing mechanism to save the passwords. Okay, so passwords are not directly saved, they are saved in either in the encrypted form or in a hash form, preferably the hash form. Okay, so hash, different types of hash like MD5 hash and sort of hash. For Laravel we typically use a bcrypt hash. Okay, so that bcrypt hash is what do you call included in this hash packaging. Okay, so what we are going to do is, let's just create this function. Sorry, login user backend. We'll see public function. Sorry, function login user backend request $request. Okay, and similarly we'll have to do the same for register as well. So what we'll do is we'll create the register page first, and what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to copy the login page into register and make the relevant changes in the register page. Okay, register. So here login user and this thing, and this will be our register page. Okay, so register user backend. So here in the form action, what I'm going to change is I'm going to write register user backend, and here I'm going to add yet another parameter, that is the name of the person. Okay, name. I will name it USR name. Okay, so here we have written user name. Instead of that, here we will write user name, and here let's just make it user ID. Okay, user ID. Inside the login form also, let's just change this thing, and we have changed it in both places. Okay, so yeah, we are done with the changes in both the forms. Okay, so now we are going to write the logic to save these things into the user controller. Okay, so saving will be done from this thing, function register user backend and request $request, and first we'll do is each set to check whether all the variables are set or not. Request first will be user ID and pass WD and USR name. Okay, so if all the variables are set, only then we have to execute this thing, or else what we are going to do is we are going to get back at the register page only. Return view, whatever we have written over here, register user. Okay, so this will take us back to the register page. Okay, just see. Okay, and here once we have got all the data, what we are going to do is we are going to do a db insert. Okay, so insert query you can get from here, or you can write on your own as well. It's not a very difficult query. Go inside this user table and see all these fields. Okay, so extra field that we have is user status, to check whether the user is active or not. So for now what we are going to do is, for this user status, what I'm going to do is I am going to set a static value only. It's not a dynamic value for now, so I'm keeping it as active. Okay, and to write insert query, what we do is insert into table name. So here you could check the table name, which is user table, USERTBL, user table. Then the fields. Okay, so the fields that we want are user ID, pass WD, USR name. So first value is user ID. The sequence of these things matters. Okay, so if you are placing the user ID afterwards, then when you pass the parameters at the end, you have to pass it in the same sequence. So just don't mess up the sequence if you don't want to mess up the inputs that are being stored into the database. Okay, user ID, and we have pass WD, then we have over here USR name, so name, and USR status, if I'm not wrong. Let's just save it and then check. Yeah, so 4 parameters, so values and 4 question marks. Okay, and outside the curly braces, comma and square bracket, and here you pass the values. Okay, so here yet another step that we have, as I said earlier, that we do not save the password directly and we save it as a hash. Okay, so how we will accomplish that, also we'll see. So first we will save the user ID as is, okay, in the request variable. So now we will save the hash password. Hash pass will say hash colon make, okay, sorry. And here we'll pass this value that we have request pass wd. So this will return a hashed value inside this variable called hash pass, and that we are going to pass over here, hash pass. And after that we have USR name, so it is the third parameters in this thing. So that also we can take directly, request USR name, okay, as is. And finally USR status that we have created over here. If you could see carefully on line number 21, we have created a USR status, which is a static variable for now. And once we are done with this thing, okay, so after this thing fires up, what we are going to do is we are going to save our value in this thing, session put. First is the key pair, key name, and second parameter is the value, request and user ID, okay, that we are going to save, as I said earlier, in the session variable, and we'll give it the key as user ID, and the actual user ID will be the ID that we are going to save over here, okay. And then what we'll do is we'll return to the view of the first place, that is a display page, okay. So ideally you should take it back to the place where you started from. So for that we have certain HTTP headers like referrer and all sorts of things, that also we will check in the upcoming videos. But for now we'll be taking back to the view called display, which is the first view where you get the list of all the theaters and that sort of thing, okay. So it will take you to that page, yeah. So this is done with the register part. So let's just go to the register part and see if we have not made any errors or sort of a thing. Okay, so let's just move back from register. Yeah, first we need to add this thing, huh? We haven't added a function for register. So what we'll do is we'll copy this route and paste register register user backend. Okay, so in the register page also, let's just check, we have given the same method here. So now we are going to test this out. Just check if we are having any values. No, we don't have any values, and hopefully we won't have any exceptions as well. For 6. Okay, and submit. User controller does not exist. So this is the error that we are getting here, because we have not declared here user controller. Okay, let's just fix this thing. User controller, okay, and we'll just refresh this page and see if we are page expired. So this is yet another feature of Laravel, okay, that you need to add a CSRF tag, okay. So CSRF is cross-site request forgery, so it protects your website from different types of attack, you could say, for now, okay. So cross-site scripting is something which is a very serious attack at this point. So for that protection we use CSRF. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and again, okay, and submit. Okay, so here it is showing undefined variable movies. So let's just check at what line it is showing this thing. Find shows display.grade.php. Okay, so what has happened is we are directly taking it to the displays route, okay. So what is happening is it is getting to this thing. So what we have to do is instead call the show movies thing. So for that purpose what we need to do is, instead of this thing, where we are, 1 second, yeah, instead of return view, what we need to do is redirect to the front slash thing. Okay, so because we just simply redirected to this thing, it is not able to get this data which we had taken in the initial route. So what we'll do is just get back, and once again okay, duplicate entry again. So now we have already created this thing, so it is giving a duplicate entry. So why it is giving a duplicate entry error? Because we have set a primary key. So now you know the function of the primary key, that if you try to create the same name, okay, which is the key stored here. So I have stored my surname Loke, and if I try to create another entry with the same name, I'll get an error. Okay, so let's get back, refresh, and I will give here test. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 test. Okay, so we came at the first page. Okay, but here now we should see test as well. Okay, see here, and now if you click over here, and again if you click here, so you are going to go to the book seat confirm view, but for now we have not created that view, so we are getting an error. So what we have to do is we have to create a book seat confirm view. But now first we will create our other login view. Okay, book seat confirm will probably create in some other video, because for now our video is getting a bit longer. So first we'll complete the login part, then we'll see how to create this thing. So first what I will do is get back to here, and we need to delete this cached data from this thing. Okay, so clear site data and refresh, just so that you clear all the sessions, cookies and sort of things. Now in the login part, so similarly we have to use a isSet function in login as well, but in case of login we are simply concerned with the user ID and password. So other than that we are not going to check anything as such, and here we'll simply return the login view, login user. Okay, so login user, and for this thing what we are going to do is, this is a twofold process over here. So first we need to fetch from the database. Okay, select the password, that is passwd, from user table where the user ID is something that the user has provided us. So question mark $request and user ID. Okay, and this data will store in a variable that we'll call $data. And now we do not know if we actually have such a user or not. So here yet another if condition in which we will check through isSet whether that data is set or not. So here data is in form of, you could say, array of objects or sort of a thing. So we need to use this notation. Okay, add 0, and what was the name of this thing? Passwd, sorry. If it's a passwd, then you get into this function, or else you just return to the view login user. Okay, in case of unsuccessful login, you just simply return to the login user. So that is the idea over here. And now to actually check if your hash matched or not, hash check, first parameter will be this thing itself, sorry, the variable that user has given us, or the saved hash. So request.passwd. So this is a unhashed, you could say, version. And now second parameter is the hashed version. And do match. Then what you have to do is, let's just write else as well for this thing. Oh, sorry. And if they do match, what we have to do is set the session again, user ID, sorry, in dual quotes, user ID, and $_request, sorry, user ID, save. Okay, or else you will simply return login user, because we are not currently returning any sort of error message or that sort of thing, so we are using this strategy. Okay, yeah. So once we are done with setting the session, what we need to do is return redirect to our home page. There is a front slash. Okay, so see here, let's just find this thing here. Now we are at the login page. So as I have done earlier, so if I put my login credentials correctly, then it should take me to the home page, or else it should redirect me to the same page. Okay, so again here it is giving the CSRF error. Okay, so CSRF we need to add. Yeah. So inside the form tag you need to add the CSRF. Okay, yeah. So we'll do this thing, and first we'll add some random number, random values, so to check whether the actual login thing is working or not. Okay, so here what I said earlier is your login is successful, or you should consider it successful only when you are taken to the home page, or else you will be stuck in a loop to this page. Okay, so see here, view login user not found. Okay, so why this login user is not found, let me check. Okay, so the U is capital over here, my bad. So yeah, capitalization and all the small little things you need to take care of. Okay, just to avoid the embarrassment. Okay, again not found. Let me check once again. What was it called? It's called login users, huh? Oh sorry, age old problem. It is called login. I am redirecting to the view, not this thing, sorry. So if you want to avoid the confusion, okay, so let me just clear this thing, because I am getting confused a lot these days with this thing. So this thing that you give over here is a URL, and this is the name of the view. So whenever you are doing a return view, make sure you use the name that is shown over here. Okay, that is the view, so you avoid the kind of embarrassment that I am having now. Okay, and yeah, hopefully, yeah, any wrong inputs, and it should take back to same page. And for the right input, it should take me to the home page, which should give me the list of movies or sort of a thing. Yeah, see here. And now when I get to this page here, it should again take me to the same book seat confirm thing. Okay, so in this video we have basically created our login and register page. So basically we have put a authentication wall for our website. In the next video we will see, in the next upcoming videos we will see how the final confirmation, seat confirmation will work, and how the user ID will be assigned. Okay, so what basically we are going to do is in this table, show seats table, here this empty column is there, so that will have the user ID the person who has logged in and confirms the seat. Okay, so that will be done, and probably we'll create some ticket viewer sort of a thing, anything fancy that we want to create. Okay, yeah, thank you.